you want to sell your product a lot more than someone wants to buy it. The leads aren't as valuable anymore. We need the signals of who did you end up contacting.
We live in an AI world now, so people that's going to come across digitally more authentic, that also helps build trust. Yeah, so Anrich, let's just kick off with Meta and Andromedan. Maybe just tell us a little bit more about what Andromedan is and how local businesses should really respond to Meta releasing this new Andromedan update.
Yeah, sweet. So, I mean, in short terms, Andromeda is basically Meta's way of trying to automate even more of the backend systems and the backend manual processes we used to use to get the best out of our ad campaigns. A good example that I heard the other day is if you usually would have tried to find an audience of, let's say, ladies that are looking for shoes for work, you would have gone and you would have tried to specifically show a creator of someone in an office wearing specific shoes, and you would want to go and set your targeting audience as women in the age of maybe 25 to 35 because you think that's the people who would be interested in the product, and you would have some interest in behavior targeting, and you would really have Meta only focus on a specific part of the audience targeting measures, where now it's like the algorithm is going to know automatically from the actions and the behaviors people take that this person has been interested in red pointy shoe size 5 for the last 3 months. They've been browsing that side and that side and that side, and now you are putting this campaign out and your creative is being analyzed and your copy is being analyzed for what this product is in Meta, and the algorithm automatically just goes and finds that person. And that's in the most simplistic terms. It's not going to be as easy as that from the start. It is still in the process of learning at least. Like Meta's just asking, like, don't over segment ads, don't overthink it, don't micromanage your ads. Give the system all the creative assets that it can use to find your audience, and don't implement too many controls into finding that person. So keep it as broad as you can. Have a larger creative diversity of creators. So maybe you were used to just having graphic images of your red shoe or maybe a carousel. It's like go and find different problem solving hooks and build 3 videos from that, and have your founders speak about the new shoes that you have. Have someone in an office or maybe business influencer or UGC create a piece of content on that. And basically each of those specific content pieces that you now give Meta now perform as a whole in getting these customers into your business, hopefully as paying customers. It's quite interesting changing a strategy where we used to go out and say, okay, we are going to test this ad and this ad and this ad, and we would have gone and put like one singular creative into one ad set, and then maybe launch like 10 ad sets, all with their single creative, and being like, I want each of these single creatives to receive the same amount of ads because I want to know that creative is getting the best click-through rate and getting my best conversions. Whereas Meta's like, don't overcomplicate it. Just give the algorithm the creative assets, and make sure that's, I guess, one of the biggest things that's changed as well. Make sure that you have the quality signals in place. So in lead generation specifically, you would have generated leads usually, and you would go and contact that leads, and you would get money from that lead. And Meta would always have been like, those leads are the successful measure we are chasing. And now it's like, listen, the leads aren't as valuable anymore. We need the signals of who contacted you. Well, who did you end up contacting? Like, who did the messages go through to? Who did you who answered the phone? Who actually showed intent and who didn't? Who are the people that conversated more than a minute with you? Who are the people that requested a quote? Who are the people that you sent an offer to? Who are the people that signed up to your webinar? Who are the people that showed up to your webinar? Who's the people that purchased your product, and who are the people that went all the way through but never purchased? So Meta knows, has that transparency, and knows like, listen, we need to optimize towards the people that didn't close yet, that didn't purchase. That's your like most prioritized part of your audience. Those people would be excluded if you put too many controls in your campaigns. But also those people that didn't purchase maybe need some sort of different angle in your creatives that are going to push them over the line.
I remember us having different ad sets, and you control, micro targeting things per ad set, and then you'd have your creatives that's also aligning with the actual audiences that you're also targeting. And that's how we used to control things. And from what I hear you say is like, have maybe one ad set and have multiple different creatives with multiple different angles in those creatives, and basically let Meta learn and decide who essentially is going to be your audience. You just need to feed it enough creative variety, essentially, with different angles, different hooks, different pain points, for Meta to get the results for your campaigns, that, for Meta just to do its thing.
Yeah, exactly. And coming from a place where we used to run our ad creatives, and we would be like, this creative did not get the cost per lead that we were looking for, the cost per acquisition we're looking for. Kill that creative, replace it with a new one. That might still be the case with common campaigns. I would like to put a disclaimer out there that there's no one size fits all to any business. Like there's so many different industries, different offers, different price points. All of that needs to be taken into account as well. But where you need to actually keep in mind that someone does not always make a purchasing decision on the first creative that they see. They make a purchasing decision on a creative that maybe provides them the best value or communicates the best value of your product, where they're like, okay, that has more value than the money I'm going to, or equal value than the money I'm going to hand over to you. But sometimes they need to see a credible UGC source, maybe someone they've been following for a bit, seeing this product on there now they are hearing someone talk on a podcast about it, and now they see that there is, oh, this is the 4 benefits you're getting from this product in this carousel that's running, and maybe they go and Google the company, and now all of a sudden they start seeing some Google ads on it as well, and it's eventually one of those ads are going to be like, one of those creators are going to be the last click that's going to push them to make the decision. And it's really like we need to start focusing on a holistic approach into how we generate more value and more revenue for clients. Because you might think this creative did not play a role at all, but it could be your founder talking about how valuable this product is, but there's no call to action or no direct value or offer in that ad. And that's not going to make someone click to convert right there and then, but you're going to have your creatives that will convert. That's going to play a back-end role into their mindset about, yes, this is a company I want to be part of, or a company I want to buy from.
Yeah, I love it, man. I mean, just to also summarize what we've talked about so far when it comes to Andromedan update, is like less control overall. So less assets, less control from a targeting perspective, focus more on creative variety, pushing different angles out there, different pain points, different formats, like as you mentioned, UGC, which is user generated content, which it's not a video that's actually produced by your company, but by other people using your product, which is a complete different perspective. So it's just having more creative variety and focusing on creative, because I also think like Meta wants us to start becoming more, I can almost say, creative strategists. So Meta wants us to become more like creative strategists when we approach ad accounts now, instead of, button pusher media buyers, if that makes sense. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And if you are sitting at the back end of this communication, or if you're sitting at the back of this and also still being like, okay, well, if we need to become creative strategists, we need to go and create our creative strategy right now, and you're going to want to have to start planning on everything, like that's not necessarily what you want to do. Like dumb it down, pick up your phone and like start creating any type of content. You can decide whether you push that out onto your paid campaigns or whether you use it organically on your channels. But you, as an owner or founder, need to make more content about your products or your services. You need to get your staff more involved in this process. You need to have a content team that sometimes produces more quality content, so that it is still clear that you still value the quality of content you put out there. You don't always, I guess, want to be just putting out like founder-led videos or authority videos. But I feel like that's probably one of the main things, and that's something you kind of have to train, and something you just have to like put your head down and just start saying like, hey, this is me, this is my product, let's get into it, or this is me creating my product.
Like I think it's important to start thinking about creative variety, producing more content yourself as the company, putting more faces to your content as well, because we live in an AI world now. So people that's going to, naturally come across digitally more authentic, that also helps build trust with people and make sales a bit easier, because we sit in a position as lead generation marketers a lot of the time, and, clients struggle to convert leads. But one of the most, underrated, underleveraged thing to convert more leads is just, showing more of who you are as a company behind the scenes, because people actually look at those things when they make a decision. So they become a lead, and at some point they need to make a decision to pay an invoice or whatever the case may be. And what helps them make that decision is how authentic you look as a business. Because remember, if somebody becomes a lead initially, there's no trust, no authority, unless they've been following you or known you for a long time. It's a cold lead, and the only way to convert that is with excellent communication, being on top of the follow-up process, giving them the advice they need, handling their objections effectively, and then also looking like a credible company. So showing authenticity, and this gets back to your point where you said more founder-led videos, getting your team involved, posting those things on your socials, running those things as ads, all of those things has an effect on, how much leads you convert at the end of the day, alongside your credibility, your reviews, stuff like that. But I don't want to get too sidetracked on that. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we end off what local businesses need to do with the new Andromedan update?
Yeah, to keep keep it simple, and we did touch on it a bit earlier. You have to, like, yes, you're going to have your creative volume and diversity increase in this phase. You have to have those signals on the back end in place. Where you used to just take the leads from Meta and run with it and go make money with it, you need to have your CRM updated. You need to have people managing that CRM. You need to have all of the quality signals. Every single action that people take, your sales team or your receptionist, however your sales system is set up, they need to feed system back into your CRM, and that CRM needs to be connected back to Meta. That's going to be your most valuable resource going forward. That's going to be like your pixel, your data set that you use on Meta, and you're going to want to train that. That's your own little like AI algorithm that you are saying, this is my valuable people that have bought from me. This is the people that have not bought from me yet, but are valuable. This is the people that we've contacted, but haven't made the decision yet. All of that data gets encapsulated into your data set, however you've set that up. And you need to make sure that you keep on firing those signals in there. And
so basically you need to do the API integrations with Meta and your CRM so that you can give Meta insights on what is actually happening in the back end with your leads, because you can't just track leads anymore. You need to tell Meta what those leads are doing and how valuable those leads are for your business. And the only way you can do that is, I think it's API Meta integration.
Yeah, Meta CAPI basically for short.
Meta CAPI integration that you need to do with your CRM. And then based on, let's say you have different stages in your CRM, based on, leads moving through those stages, you need to feed that data back to Meta so that it can effectively optimize your campaigns. And as I understand it, it's absolutely crucial to do that with the new Andromedan update to get the maximum benefit out of your campaigns and, ultimately your marketing budget.
Yeah, I don't want to dive into this too deeply.
Yeah, that's
also don't want to send people into a hole of just like creating just like a singular campaign with all of your ad creatives in there. But for all of this to work together, like in an ideal world, you would have all of your ad creatives with like a broad audience set up, connected to all of the quality signals you're sending back to Meta. So Meta automatically knows like the leads that it generates for you in this specific region of a country or in that specific country don't end up purchasing from you. They've never purchased from you. And once you get to a point where you can optimize for purchases and not necessarily for leads, or just optimize for a certain cost per result, Meta would be able to know, okay, we are not going to optimize in that country anymore because that's not getting you the final end result that you are looking for. So you won't end up excluding that area or country anymore. The algorithm would just know like, this is your pool of people and we're finding more of this pool in this area, in this age group, and that works. You don't have to go and set up all of that eventually, but the two go hand in hand, unfortunately. And it is a bit of a tech setup, disclaimer, but once you have that in place, it's a beautiful system. Yeah.
At least we as marketers are not out of a job yet with AI, since there's so many tech that revolves around it to actually give the AI the data that they need, which is also, where we come in as an agency and do those things for our clients.
Yeah. We'd love to be in the space. I mean, it's kind of our responsibility. We have so many different accounts to test this on and to see the results of it. It's crazy. It makes us feel like our job is a lot easier than it usually used to be.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's definitely heading in a different direction than it did a couple of years ago. So moving on to the next topic, if you were to turn a struggling local business around, or if you just somehow landed into a new local business that has limited digital activity, how do you grow and scale that local business? Like what comes to mind, and what would you do first to start scaling and growing that business?
Yeah, I'd hate to be the guy that's like, do this one thing and you will turn your business around.
There's definitely
it's such a custom question, but if I were to look at it, definitely like you have to go in from a third perspective, audit your business and see, firstly, remember, you want to sell your product a lot more than someone wants to buy it. You think people know your product and you think your product is a lot more valuable than people seeing this product for the first time. So you need to go and audit and see what are the credibility layers that I'm missing in my business, and what is the communication or the messages that I need to start putting out there so that people can just get a first touch point into what we stand for, what the value of our product or service is, what value it can bring to people's lives. A lot of the time, it's like your audience is constantly evaluating what their investment into your service or product is going to bring back to them, of course, what that exchange is going to look like for them. So it's either working on a longer term strategy where you go and say, I'm going to start working on all of our social channels. I'm going to actually update my website so that it gives people the right amount of information when they do it. That is something that needs to be in place. You have to start creating different content on different channels so that you can start reaching and having different touch points all around on all the channels out there. The other option that you have is just to totally ignore all of the base structures you need to have in place for your business and to just start creating really good content and fake it till you make it with your ad content. People will see your ad content and it would look like your business is a business that someone needs to be part of just from the paid content that you use. And that would bring a lot of first-time customers into your business. But if you think about working on a longer-term strategy that's going to build an audience that's going to be part of your business and going to be repeat customers of your business, you need to have the systems in place that's going to have them come back to your business.
Yeah, I always take a very practical approach to this. Like I always look at, reputation first for me at least. So I always go and look at, how does the business look from the outside? Like how does their brand look? What needs to be updated there? How does their reviews look? Because people do look at reviews, especially if it's like a restaurant or a beauty business or something like that, where people want to make sure that, what they pay is what they're going to get. And that's the biggest thing is like the minute you start running advertising and, those things are not in place, it makes it so much harder to actually convert somebody if you don't have a good reputation, if the brand doesn't look good, because then people become leads and the marketing side of things is normally not an issue. But when it comes to the conversion side of things, people struggle. So that's my first kind of like layer of defense. It's really just having, a brand that looks nice and that has a good reputation, because that's the first layer people really look at when they decide, I want to buy from this business or not. Am I going to show up for that booking or not? Am I going to, pay this, deposit on a quote or not? And the second layer is just looking at what's really selling in that business, what's actually performing, what services are doing well, what are people currently already buying from that business, and then figuring out how you can make an attractive offer out of those top performing services. And then that forms a foundation for, your marketing strategy going forward. And then on top of that comes your content and your marketing strategy, almost like your creative strategy forms, on top of, what you're going to offer to the public. Because now if it's already services that's performing well and you create advertisements out of that and make it look more attractive, automatically, those things sell already. So it's not a guessing game. You know that people will opt into those offers. And then when you have a good reputation, that people will actually, come through and the leads will actually convert. And I think that's a great foundation. That's actually how we actually built, a cleaning company recently, where we scaled it from scratch to 250K per month in recurring revenue. And that business operates on a 35% margin, which is amazing. And that's exactly how we really built that cleaning company. It's like we launched the services, we saw what 3 services performed the best, and we just hammered our advertising on those 3 services, made sure we got a lot of reviews, made sure the website and the brand looks good. And, the rest is history. Then it's about how you operate the business and how you keep the business profitable, and then how you further expand and grow from them. And then it's all obviously worthwhile to assess, like, is your area suited to grow and scale the business? Because I think a lot of local businesses are limited to their areas. It doesn't matter how much you spend on marketing, doesn't matter what you do, you can have the perfect brand, everything. Maybe you're in a dying industry or your area is just not ideal. And then it's, you are sitting with some decisions to make. Like, do you sell the business? Do you, move on from the business? Do you close the business? Whatever the case may be. Because, believe it or not, good marketing can't save a business, unfortunately. So it's all about keeping those factors in mind if you, really want to focus on growing and scaling. And I can obviously only reflect on my experience. And, that's at least what I've seen in the past couple of years in doing this, and also, actually starting a local business from scratch and scaling it ourselves. But yeah, man, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I totally agree. It does feel a lot of the times that, people would try to market a premium plumbing service and then they would have 50 2.4-star reviews, and it's like you are going to have an uphill battle you'll be able to generate leads, but once people try and see, like, is this company actually going to follow up what they're going to do, what they promised they were going to do, then the reviews are going to be such a bottleneck into actually getting success in that. And coming back to how you can turn a struggling business back into a success, focus on the first part, like what's going to get you a few quick early wins so that you have something to work with and be able to invest more back into your business, into providing more value, creating better content to show the value of your product, and investing more into getting more people into your ecosystem. I think a lot of the time struggling business might think like it's such a big task to get new customers into their business, but at the end of the day, like, focus on your ecosystem. I feel like the South African economy a lot of the times is actually focused on such small pools of people, and you kind of just need to find your pool, and work on that pool, because eventually your pool is going to come through for you if you have a product that is valuable and is going to provide value to someone.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, a lot of things to take into account there.
And it's also, if you're only running Meta ads, like there's obviously a lot of situations out there when you talk about struggling business or scaling a business. And I think this falls more part of the scaling a business side of things. But running Google ads alongside Meta ads, or, if you're only doing Google and not Meta or whatever the case may be, is like following an omnichannel approach. It's almost always going to help your business grow further, because if you're only running Meta ads, adding Google to that is just going to help, because what people do is they see your ads and then they go and Google the company and then they get to your website that way. And you can actually bid on your own brand name through Google, and you can just simplify that process for a lot of people that's actually going to look you up after they've seen an ad. And then vice versa, when you run Google ads, people visit your website from a Google ad and then you retarget them with a Meta ad. Same thing, they just see you everywhere, and you start creating that kind of like ecosystem for people to get trapped in, and then ultimately they'll become a lead and eventually a client if should they want to proceed with whatever you offer. But that is one of the most underrated ways, in my opinion, to scale a business. Like, we also use that in plush cleaning, and the minute we added Google ads, our revenue probably increased by 30-35% just by adding Google ads alongside the Meta ads, and it complemented it very well. So that's also just one way I really wanted to highlight. And then also, if you are running advertising, obviously you're getting a lot of leads. One thing that you need to be absolutely dead sure about and have robust systems in place is just the follow-up process and the customer experience / service. I can't even count on my fingers how many times I've actually consulted businesses that we're doing lead generation for, and then when you start asking questions around why leads aren't converting, it almost always comes down to either their brand or their follow-up process, which is not diligent enough. They're actually not providing customer experience and service when they're following up with leads. It's almost like just getting a lead and sending an invoice to them without any context, because the client said on a form this is what they want and you just send an invoice. But a lot of clients need convincing past that point. They need their objections answered. They need a bit of a personal touch in that process to convert that lead. And I think a lot of businesses also underestimate how much effort it actually takes to make a sale, and they don't have those systems in place to ensure that they are doing that diligence with leads. And I think lead conversion could be a lot higher for a lot of businesses if that is a bit more of a focus, in my opinion.
Like when someone calls you, Andre, the leads aren't answering their phone, or the leads aren't converting. Like, we're speaking to a lot of leads, but they aren't converting. And part of that is like the timeline of someone actually converting to a business is so different person to person. You're going to have your easy picking fruits of your batch where people are just going to fill in a lead form. You're going to contact them. They're going to book. They're going to pay right there. Great. That's probably going to be like 5% of your sales. But there's a good amount of quality leads usually in there if you just give it some time and if you work on them. You have to remember that while those people signed up, that is an indication of engagement into your ad account. And that gives you an opportunity to maybe sell to them later down the line. It might be 3 months, it might be 6 months down the line, but at least
might be years.
They're in your ecosystem. Because they are in your audience, they will see your campaigns every now and then. You'll be kept top of mind. And I mean, if we're running a Valentine's Day offer as an example, yes, Valentine's Day offers you want to close because Valentine's Day is a date, and there's urgency for someone to book something because the date is going to go. It's going to expire. It's going to expire eventually. So that's one part of it. If you use plush cleaning as an example, if you have a couch that's dirty, you see plush cleaning, you're like, cool, I actually want this offer, and now you've got this offer, you've claimed it to an extent, but now maybe your parents are only coming in 2 months, so you're like, cool, I have 3 dogs, and if I clean the couch now, I might need to clean it again, and maybe cash is strapped, and now you need to rather wait 2 months. And I was like, now plush cleaning is calling you, and I was like, I'm not going to answer this because I'm actually not ready yet. And now you don't want to discard this person as not valuable to your business. And that's just like one small drop in the pond of what everyone is going through in life. And you just want to make sure, like, yes, you got a new lead, it's part of your ecosystem, you are going through all the ropes to make sure that the people that are ready to buy are being contacted, and hopefully you've got a few quality signals or a few ways, maybe
to prioritize the best leads.
Prioritize the best lead scoring. That's the most optimal way you can go about it. But if not, I mean, make sure you have at least automations in place. If you don't follow up with your lead, show people afterwards, you submitted this lead form, this is what you have right now. If you're unsure what to do next, call this number, WhatsApp them, call them, like, just try your best to get those people in your ecosystem. Eventually you are going to run maybe an offer for carpets or for curtain cleaning, and then that might be like, oh, my curtains are actually a lot more dirty than my couch, so I'm going to commit now because I saw a curtain ad and I didn't think think beforehand that they did curtains, but now I
Yeah.
see the curtain ad and now they convert.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly. You can do that through email marketing. You can do that through retargeting. Just following the OmniFocus approach in terms of just keeping people top of mind. And not every lead's going to convert. It is a numbers game, and it's just maximizing the most serious leads and having a system for doing that, which I feel like we're doing very well in plush cleaning at the moment. But yeah, I mean, the last topic that I just want to touch on is also, if you're a service-based business watching this, like, how do you decide how much to spend on Meta or Google? Should you even run Meta or Google ads? Which one should you focus on as a business? And then how do you measure which platform is actually doing the best? So yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that to start off with, like Meta or Google ads.
Yeah, so if you are a business that needs to decide between either one of them because you have a limited constraint, analyze your business. Look at your product that you want to, like your most valuable product, most popular product, and find out if there is a search volume for that product on Google. If there is, it's probably a very good option to go after that from the start, because all it is Google ads is spear phishing, like going out and saying like, hey, you said you were interested in this cup because you typed this. So
And then here's the cup.
here's the cup you can buy right now. This is everything you need right here because you indicated that you need it. Whereas Meta is you need to create
The demand.
you need to create the demand for the product, of course. So if you have a product that there's not a lot of demand for and people don't know your product yet, they don't know your brand yet, and people aren't searching for it because they didn't know they need it yet, Meta is probably a good way to go about it. This is like I'm trying to fit this into an all-in-one size. But if you have a product that people are searching for, go for Google. And if you have the budget and if you are an established company, of course, the two work brilliantly together. If you know people are looking for you on Google and searching for similar products that you have to offer, and you can go and compete on Google, versus you have content that you can put out on Meta and you have a lot of ways to convince people and show people the value through your content strategy on Meta, that's great because you're going to generate interest on Meta from people that didn't know you exist and didn't know what the quality of your work. And now all of a sudden they're going to Google and they're like, who's this brand? I want to see the prices, finding out, looking at your reviews maybe on Google or on your website, and vice versa. Then you would probably experience a lot more growth if you combine them soon, or if you combine them earlier.
Yeah, I normally say that, when looking at Meta or Google, I normally say that for heavy direct to consumer products / services that is relatively low on the price end, Meta is normally the go-to, because Google ads can become quite expensive in certain niches or certain businesses. So if you have a direct to consumer business like a beauty business or a cleaning business or anything like that, that is probably between, let's say, $500 and lower, all the way up to up to 10K, I would say, that is generally a good place for you to run Meta advertising, and you could get a relatively low cost per lead and decent conversion rates, which will still allow you a lot of margin on the back end to profitably operate your business. When it comes to Google ads, it's normally higher end products / services, or services that are heavy in demand, or that is kind of like an on-demand service, if that makes sense. So let's say you need your couch cleaned now, or tomorrow you are going to Google couch cleaners near me.
Can't wait and scroll for a Meta ad to come up.
It's not like a impulse thing where they're gonna, oh, couch cleaning, cool, let me do this. Like, there's people that's gonna want their couch cleaned tomorrow. There's people that is just gonna sit there, scroll, and be like, oh, that would be nice to get my couch cleaned. So that's just the difference between Meta and Google. So a lot of businesses, it's ideal to appeal for both. Like in the cleaning business, it's great to run both, and that's why both work so well, is because you get the people that wants that service tomorrow, and you get people that sees an ad and be like, oh, this is it, let me just get everything cleaned in my house. So there's a combination of that. But for some businesses, the one side of the coin would be a lot less than the other side of it. In a cleaning business, like, I feel like the demand is very equal when it comes to generating demand and putting yourself in front of the demand. But for an in-demand plumbers, for instance, like, your main business is going to come from Google, because people have an issue now and they need it fixed now, and that's why they will just search plumbers near me. Obviously Meta will still work for them, but it's not going to be on-demand plumbing work. It's probably just going to be like, oh, my sink's leaking, or whatever the case may be. People can leave it for a couple of days and then be like, oh, there's a plumber, I've just saw this plumber in my feed, maybe I should just call them to come and fix this thing that's been bothering me for the past 2 weeks. So I hope that paints a picture of Meta versus Google. But for a lot of businesses, I think for you just need to analyze which one you lean more to and focus on that one platform a lot more than the other. But for a lot of local businesses, both is normally good. Like, like a solo business as well, it's a very high-end service / product to sell, and therefore Google Ads would work the best, for a solo business, for instance. But you can still run Meta ads for that. And then, obviously, if you are already spending a lot on Google Ads, if you're a solo business or whatever the case may be, already spending a lot on Google Ads, adding Meta ads is also a good idea, because you can now retarget people that's been clicking on your website through Google Ads.
And that's a primed audience.
That's
If
a
you think
prime
about it,
audience you
People
can
that
target.
people that go and search for your product in your industry and end up in your website, being tracked on your website, now being linked to Meta. Now it's like everyone that sees your campaigns is basically linked to people that search for products in your industry. That's a good way to go about it.
And then I think the last question on that is just like, how do you decide which platform? I think we've covered how do you decide which platform to really prioritize between the two. But then it just becomes, you looking at the numbers, and hopefully you have some form of attribution tool attached to your CRM that could track where the traffic comes from, whether the traffic that converts the most comes from Google, comes from Meta, and then based on that, you would then ultimately decide where to spend the most amount of money. I know Automate, the platform that we use, which is actually Go High Level, that tracks attribution pretty well. We use that attribution reporting for plush cleaning. That's why I can say with confidence that the split is very much equal. So we split our budget in half between the two platforms, and it's been working really well. I think we're slightly pushing more on Google because the people that comes from Google is a bit more serious, and we've seen higher conversions from that. But it's just about having that attribution set up. And I mean, there's a lot of attribution tools out there that you can also integrate into your CRM to get this insight. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything on that.
Yeah, I'll even challenge you to an extent of that, because when you do start working with Google and Meta, of course, you want to have your attribution set up correctly, because it's interesting data to have to see, oh, this person went through this Google ad to that page, and then you see, okay, they were tracked through your pixel. Then if you have your Meta tracking implemented into the same CRM as well, you can see, oh, that person clicked on this ad and they came from this specific Meta campaign. Oh, and then the next time they came from this campaign. So their first click was Google, their second and third click was two Meta ads, and you see again, oh, their fourth and final last click, which actually pushed them into a conversion, was from Google. And now Google gets attribution of the sale, of course, but it's this whole omni-channel approach, once again, of getting someone to become a paying client of your customer and hopefully a repeat customer eventually as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's it from my side. I don't know if you have anything else that you want to add to the overall conversation, but ultimately we've covered Andromeda and the new update, what local businesses need to do to adapt to the update. I mean, we had a couple of, valuable insights there. We've covered, Meta and Google Ads, what to prioritize there, how to decide what to spend where, when to, focus on each platform as well. And then we've also covered just how to turn around your struggling local business, or how to aggressively scale your local business, and what things to look out for and what things to prioritize first. So yeah, man, it was so nice having you and doing this podcast with you. Nice to have you in office all the way from Cape Town. And if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. And I'm looking forward to bringing future episodes to you.
So thanks, Wicks.